the Columbia Association to order at 7:02. Good evening, everyone. I'm Janet Evans, Chair of the CA Board of Directors. Please remember that this meeting of the Board of Directors is being live streamed. You can find tonight's agenda and background materials on the CA Board's webpage. Links to these documents can also be found in the description section of our YouTube live stream for those of you who are watching there. If you are virtual, please mute your microphones unless you're speaking. If you're in the room, please ensure your cell phones are silenced. Raise your hand to speak. I will record the names in the order in which I see them. If you are virtual, please use the chat feature. And as always, I appreciate those of you in the room helping me monitor the chat. As we move through the meeting, I will introduce each item on the agenda. Before a vote is taken, I will restate a motion as well as who motioned and seconded. If at any point you have trouble hearing me or any other board member, please say so. I will be keeping time tonight since we have not yet created a rotation. And now I will call the roll. Dick.
Bonsoir.
Eric.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
Kevin.
Here.
Bill. Alan.
Present.
Andy.
Present.
Jenny.
Here.
Sherry.
Here.
Blakey.
Here.
And I am here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Jenny moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Eric seconds. Anyone opposed? Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Okay, unanimous. Okay, next up we have resident speak out. Thank you. All right, first up we have Melissa Villegas. Melissa, are you with us? Okay, we will come back to Melissa. Next up we have Deborah Latimer. Do we have Deborah on the line?
Yep, I'm here.
Hello, good evening, welcome.
Welcome. Okay. Good evening. I am Debbie Latimer. I live in, and I am speaking, just a minute. I am speaking on behalf of our Howard County Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America local group. I live in Long Reach Village on Each Leaf Court, right next to Oak Bush, where Kyle shot and killed his wife, Aline, and then himself in March 2021. Both my children graduated from Long Reach High School, where a police officer disarmed a high school student who had a loaded ghost gun in May 2021. Across the street from the Exxon, where 21-year-old Jaden was shot and died less than a month later. I work at our county's hospital where Wendy, who was shot and killed by her ex-husband in December 2021, had worked. Near the convenience store where a 22-year-old man, Montez, was shot in early June 2021 and later died. Close to the Wild Lake Village Center, where a mother and child were shot in crossfire in February of this year. This is just a glimpse of the way our community has been impacted by gun violence over the past year. Gun violence includes suicides, domestic violence, school shootings, mass shootings, unintentional shootings, and threats of gun violence. Each day, more than 110 people in the United States are killed and more than 200 are wounded with guns. In a national poll, 58% of adults reported that they or someone they care for have experienced gun violence in their lifetime. More people die from gun violence by early February in the United States than during the entire calendar year in other high-income countries. Moms Demand Action, together with other groups who care about this issue, commemorate the first Friday of June as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. That will be June 3rd this year. We wear and light up orange to remember all the victims of gun violence. Our volunteers work every day of the year to prevent gun violence through our support of evidence-based solutions. Please vote to issue a proclamation and consider lighting a building orange in honor of all those who've been impacted by gun violence in Columbia. Our hospital will be lighting up orange this year because our medical professionals recognize that gun violence is a public health issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Are there any questions? Alan?
Yeah, Debbie, thank you. Is there an event or a date or a deadline that we should be aware of? Or is this something that we could do just?
I have submitted a letter to all of you. You should have received it, and it has more details about what we're requesting. But basically, we're asking the Columbia Association Board to issue a proclamation just designating the National Gun Violence Remembrance Day or Awareness Day for June 3rd. And that weekend is typically when we light buildings up and also wear orange and have activities. We are planning a community event that will probably be held in Columbia as well at Lake Elkhorn at one of the schools, the middle school, I believe. And that's going to be the following weekend. So we can keep you apprised of what's going on. And
Thank you.
We're working with another community organization too on this.
Jenny?
Yeah, thank you. Excuse me, Deb, excuse me, is this proclamation that you sent us the same as the one this board approved, was it a year ago or 2 years ago?
It's similar. It's similar.
Okay.
It's updated.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Debbie.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up we have Russ Swatek.
Russ Swatek, Long Reach. I extend thanks to new and returning board members for volunteering your time to serve our community. I was on the board for 4 years and know it will consume all the time you are willing to give it. Please remember the CA president and staff work for you, and you for the residents of Columbia. I found most of my problems with CA staff stemmed from how CA was viewed. CA is a corporation and a homeowners association. I wanted CA to emphasize being the residents' HOA. Of course, CA needs to stay financially solvent to serve the community. However, staff often appear to be thinking only of the corporate aspect, which it does not need to adhere to many of the HOA requirements. Makes sense because CA is their employer. But the reason for CA's existence is to be the residents' HOA. Last year, CA signed an agreement with the Downtown Columbia Arts and Cultural Commission and the IMA, which codified how the Holiday Symphony of Lights could wrap cars over Symphony Woods forested land. Several residents requested a copy of the agreement, and the CA president and general counsel refused to provide it. It said there was a non-disclosure agreement. Well, there was no NDA. I filed an ethics complaint against the CA president and general counsel, alleging ethics violation for not providing the agreement as required by the Maryland Homeowners Association Act, and for not being truthful to board members and residents. Unfortunately, the CA board chair basically disregarded the allegations and said there was just different legal opinions based on statements by CA's general counsel that the agreement did not need to be released. He is simply a hired hand, willing to say whatever is requested, and he works for the CA president. Do not expect any credibility there. The CA chair did not even bring it before the board for discussion. After many weeks, CA finally did release the agreement. However, in the meantime, I had referred the matter to the Office of the Attorney General for Maryland. Unfortunately, due to the legislature being in session, we did not get the Attorney General's response until yesterday. It is very clear that the agreement had to be provided to the requesting resident. When I get all of your email addresses, I will forward the AG's opinion to you. CA has a history of withholding requested information that the Maryland HOA Act requires to be released. Please stop this practice. Also, when I get your email address, I will forward a new ethics complaint to you. It has been alleged that the CA president has disclosed CA confidential information to the media in an attempt to
Ross, you're out of
affect the
time. Could you
recent
please wrap
election
up?
because she did not like the candidate pool. This should be investigated. CA board, you need to get our president under control. In closing, just remember that the CA president and staff work for you.
Thank you, Russ. Any questions for Russ? Okay. Has Melissa joined us? Okay. Then that concludes our resident speak out for tonight's meeting. To limit interruptions during board discussion and voting, all members of the general public will now be returned to the audience. This means that you will no longer be able to show your camera or unmute your audio, but you are more than welcome to stay on as an attendee to watch the remainder of this meeting/work session. You can also watch the live stream on the CA live stream YouTube page. Thank you for your participation tonight. I will now take a moment to allow our staff to make the transition. We're good? Okay. Okay, can I now have a motion to approve the minutes from May 13th and October 14th,
So moved.
2021? Ginny moves. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Andy seconds. Any discussion?
Just a question. Our usual practice has been that one votes on minutes only if one attended the meeting. And since you just lumped the two of them together into one motion, I attended one and didn't attend the other. I'm wondering what I should do.
I believe anybody is able to vote regardless.
Thank you.
Any objection to the approval of the minutes? Unanimous? Okay, moving on to the election of directors to the board. Whereas the following persons are in the Columbia Council Representatives elected to serve for fiscal year '23 by the members of their respective village community associations. Richard Bolton, Village of Dorsey Search, Eric Greenberg, Village of River Hill, Brian England, Village of Hickory Ridge, Kevin Fitzgerald, Village of Town Center, Janet Evans, Village of Longreach, Bill Santos, Village of Wild Lake, Alan Klein, Village of Harper's Choice, Andrew Stack, Village of Owen Brown, Virginia Thomas, Village of Oakland Mills, Sherry Zarrett, Village of King's Contrivance. Whereas pursuant to the terms of the Columbia Association Charter and bylaws, such Columbia Council representatives are members of the corporation. Now therefore be it resolved that the members hereby elect to the Board of Directors effective May 12th, 2022, Brian England, the newly elected Columbia Council representative from Hickory Ridge, Kevin Fitzgerald, the newly elected Columbia Council representative from Town Center, Bill Santos, the newly elected Columbia Council representative from Wild Lake. Is Alan Klein considered a newly, sorry. Alan Klein, the newly elected Columbia Council representative from Harper's Choice. Now therefore be it resolved that the members hereby re-elect to the Board of Directors effective May 12, 2022, Richard Bolton, the Columbia Council representative, Dorsey Search, Eric Greenberg, the Columbia Council Representative, River Hill. Janet Evans, the Columbia Council Representative, Long Reach. Andrew Stack, the Columbia Council Representative, Owen Brown. Virginia Thomas, the Columbia Council Representative, Oakland Mills. And Sherry Zaret, the Columbia Council Representative for King's Contrivance. Vote on, okay. Do we need a motion?
Yeah, somebody has to make the motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Ginny moves, Alan seconds. Any discussion? Any objections? Okay. Resolution is approved. May I have a motion to adjourn the organizational, no, whichever meeting this is.
Members. Members.
Sorry?
The members meeting.
The members' meeting.
So moved.
So, yeah.
Eric moves.
Second.
Ginny seconds. Any discussion? Any objections? Unanimous. Is this when we take the pause to sign the ethics? Okay. We will now take a brief pause to sign the ethics documentation.
Sure, I can just take one and pass it down.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can't just leave them in your pocket in front of you. It's perfect. Yeah, it's the same. Those are two the same. Okay. Which one you said?
No,
Looks like there's two.
this is the code, yeah, this is the code.
Yeah, I'll double check.
There are 4,
Yes, well, you get to keep,
and this
yeah,
one.
you get to keep the report.
All right, thank you.
Did you get the reporting
Riveting TV.
violations one? I'll make sure you have one.
Yeah, I'm sure you gave it to us.
Okay, I'll check to make sure you have one.
Oh, is it this one? Oh, wait. Oh, and then you know what? I have doubles because I have it in my packet.
Did you get doubles up?
I have doubles of all of these documents because I have.
So you're good. Okay.
Different than the other two. Usually display the same.
Is there anyone who has not signed the documents that were passed out? I know there were
Dick
some
has
people-
not signed them.
I'm sorry?
Dick Bolton has not signed them.
So I'll state for the record that this board did pass, or approve, I should say, a policy. It was dated September 23rd, 2021, stating that anybody or any board member who fails to sign the CA ethics policies is not permitted to vote in a board member meeting or to vote or attend a closed meeting. So I would just state that for the record.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a statement for the record as well.
Proceed.
Our governing documents do not allow a member to be denied a vote. So that resolution, yes, that was a very nice thing to do, but it's invalid. And furthermore, I intend to vote at the meeting tonight.
I believe, are you referring to the charter where it says that all members are entitled to a vote?
Yes, I am.
And again, this is just for the record. Each director entitled to a vote is what it reads. You know, entitled is a specific word used. So one could say that this policy says that an individual who does not sign the ethics policies is therefore not entitled to vote. So it's my recommendation that this board follow the policy that it passed in September 23rd, 2021.
And I would like to point out that other board members who were unable to be here in person made arrangements to come and do it prior to the meeting. I would also like to point out that it's not when it's convenient that you follow policy. You either follow it or you don't. So if you want to state policy and use that as a reason to not proceed with something, then that's the way we do it. And so it applies across the board. Alan?
I would absolutely agree that policies apply across the board, and I agree with Dick that the charter is pretty clear. It just uses the word shall. That's very determinative. And that statement about the entitled to vote immediately follows paragraph where it talks about the president not being entitled to a vote, being an ex officio member and not entitled to a vote. As far as I can tell, there's no other mention in the charter of who is and who isn't eligible to vote. So it's pretty clear to me that we can't create policies that violate the charter. We'd have to amend the charter first and then create the policy that followed the charter. So pretty clear to me that Dick has a vote.
It's pretty clear to me that policy is only followed when it's convenient, and if everyone was so worried about it, then why didn't it come up last year when we created the policy? So thank you for your input. I choose to adhere to what our general counsel is sharing with us, since that is what he is hired to do, and that is how I will proceed.
A point of, I don't know if it's order or information, where in the powers of the chair is that?
Where do they not?
Well, it could be a vote of the group. If there's not a designated power to the chair, I'm not clear how the chair has the power to deny somebody a vote.
It was the policy that this board voted on a year ago that denies the vote.
But
and
if
so
a policy is in violation of the charter, then it's an invalid policy.
our general counsel just said it was not in violation of the charter.
In his opinion.
Well, that's his opinion. It's up to the board to decide.
Yeah.
How about we resolve it with a vote of?
Well, that's super convenient, Alan, really.
I don't know why it's super convenient.
Well, because I will just say that we've recently had an incident on this board where people hid behind policy, where they insisted that we follow policy, whether or not it was the right thing to do. And now, when it's convenient to not follow policy, then that's what, and Dick was one of the ones spouting policy.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. So
You don't know what I'm talking about, that's correct. But I will assure you that the double standard and the hypocrisy does not go unnoted.
I hear you.
Wes, can you please provide some guidance here, because I don't know what to do.
I'll state again, it's the policy that was voted on and approved by this board unanimously in September of 2021 does not contradict the charter. The charter says any member who is entitled to a vote. And that policy would indicate that if you don't sign the ethics policies, then you are not entitled to a vote. That's my recommendation, that this board follow the policy that it unanimously passed in September of 2021. That's just my recommendation.
Ginny?
Yeah. I'd like to see us move on. I think the reality is Dick has an open mic. He will probably vote when he wants to vote, but I think unless it's a close vote, it really doesn't make any difference tonight. While we work on this at some other point, I hear what both sides are saying, but I'd like to keep us moving on, if possible. If we wind up with a tie vote, then we've got a problem, but if we don't, let's just move on. You made your decision, and we move on.
Alan?
I'd just like to ask our general counsel, if this board passed a policy unanimously that said that only people who come from villages that start with the letter H can vote, would you see that as in conformity with the charter?
At this time, I'm not going to indulge in hypotheticals. I'm going to speak only to the matter that's before me. And that matter is whether or not an individual who has not signed the ethics policies is permitted to vote in a board meeting. So, and I've given my recommendation, and I'll leave it at that.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're in a catch-22. Could we please move on? You've heard what everybody has to say, and the
How do
chair
we
made a
move on?
decision.
Tell me. If
We
you'd like to take over the meeting here.
No, we start on the agenda. Let's go. Dick is going to do
It
what Dick
matters
wants
if
to
he
do.
can vote or not.
Yeah,
No, the recording is the difference, whether it's recorded or not. He will vote because he's going to vote verbally. You can't do anything about that. But whether it's recorded or not, and as I say, if it's not a close vote, it doesn't matter, so let's just move on. We can deal with the policy at another time. We're not going to resolve it tonight. There are two different points of view. We need to take it up as a board as whether we want that policy or not, or we want to clarify it, but that will not be done tonight. Am I missing something?
yeah, you're missing the precedent.
No, I understand all that, but let's,
I think that's a lousy precedent if we let this happen. And we could
Let me
could
just say,
resolve it by a vote
I'm
of the
going to
board.
hold off for now, and I understand we have an election coming up for a new board chair, and then let's deal with it at that time.
okay, let's move on.
Okay, this meeting is being live streamed. I'm not going to read all that again, but I will be taking roll call. Dick,
I'm here.
Eric,
Here.
Brian,
Here.
Kevin,
Here?
I'm here. Has Bill joined us? Nope. Andy, or Alan,
Here.
Present?
Jenny,
Here.
Sherry,
Yeah.
Lakey.
Here.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Jenny moves, Eric seconds. Any discussion? Any objection? Okay, election of chair and vice chair of the board. Floor is open for nominations.
I nominate Ginny Thomas for vice chair.
We're going to start with chair. This.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sometimes
No,
they
it's
start
okay.
with- Other boards I've been on, they start with vice chair and then they go to chair. Sorry about that.
I could be wrong, because, you know.
No, I think you're correct.
Sorry about
All
newbie.
right, can I will accept nominations for chair. Sherry?
I would like to nominate Eric Greenberg.
Second.
Accept.
I'd like to nominate Andy Stack. Do I have a second?
Does a nomination require a second?
Oh, I guess it doesn't, no,
Yeah, doesn't it?
no.
No.
So I think
Oh,
nominations
okay.
just need to be made and accepted.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Okay, Eric, would you like to make a statement?
Yeah, I would. So granted, I've only been on the board 6 months now, but I think I've learned a lot on this board, and I think I've got a lot of interesting ideas. And I think the key thing for this board going forward is sending a message of unity and collectiveness and being able to really work for all of Columbia.
Sorry. Andy?
Yeah, I did send out an email to everybody saying what I would hope the next chair would do. I do think that the important thing is to improve relations and communications among the 11 board members. And then the second is improve relations with the villages. And then third is to lessen the burden on the chair, give the vice chair more responsibilities officially. And I think that one of the difficulties we've had in the past has been, I'll say, a lack of procedures, and necessarily following the procedures, particularly for how we operate on the board. And so I just put together a bunch of bullets that kind of reference the policies that we've done, the procedures we've done over the past year, and I would like that we continue to do those. And if I do get to be chair, I will certainly continue, and I think they will help us focus much better on being productive.
Thank you, Andy.
Now, in terms of as I said, the three things that I think we need to focus on for at least the chair, I mean, in addition to just the usual administrative stuff, is on improving the communications and the interaction among all the board members. That's really crucial.
So point of order, how do we just take nominations first and then we vote?
Yeah, you just vote.
Cool.
For everything at once, though? Do we vote for everything at once?
No, I think we vote on each office.
We used to vote on a ballot.
I was just going to say it should be a closed ballot. So
Right.
everyone should have a piece of paper, and I believe you do the chair first and the vice chair second.
Oh, good, so I can hand it over. Excellent. So I believe Janet has a process for us and for those of you who are virtual. Can someone give her a mic?
Send it to him. All right, you can.
My apologies.
Oh, no, it's fine. Oh, sorry.
Janet Loughran, I'm clarifying which Janet
sorry,
Loughran. If you can just briefly describe that we're gonna vote by paper ballot and then what the people online are gonna do.
We are passing around paper ballots. Everyone will get a ballot. Please fill in the oval or check, however, your candidate of choice. Those ballots will be collected by the president and with the assistance of an officer, which is Susan. They will be counted. We have two board members who are attending virtually. They are going to receive a link to the same ballot that you are receiving. They will vote, and those votes will be captured and put into an Excel spreadsheet. The Excel spreadsheet will come to my computer, and then I am going to share those results with the president, the senior vice president, and the general counsel, so that they will see the same information that I am seeing. And for the purposes of those in attendance, I will be glad to state which candidate or candidates received a vote from the virtual attendees.
Point, you're going to say how the virtual attendees voted?
No, there are no names attached. All I see is a timestamp and the name of the person for whom they voted. I do not see which attendee voted for what person.
Okay, but if they both vote for the same person, then we'll know who they voted for. So
That is correct.
I just hope none of us asked to see that, because that's not information we should have about who voted for what.
If I share it with the president.
Don't we add them all up together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you wanting to ensure that we have confidence that everything's on the up and up, but I think it exposes people to, whereas, I mean, unless we're all going to share who we voted for, then we should all share who we voted for.
Share what is count? What is the count? We don't have to say that. We don't have to say that it's virtual. I'm a virtual.
Okay, all right.
Can you initiate the poll? I'll start to collect the ballots in the room.
So,
You fold them up.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan, do you want to nominate?
Another option, Janet, would be just to put them in a breakout room with you and just say who they vote for.
For the record.
Janet could be the, like, that's what we did in our village when we had people vote online in our village meeting. So an email.
Or at least have to be double verified.
Dick and Brian, can you confirm that you've executed your vote?
I haven't seen anything appear on my screen.
He said he wasn't going to do it.
No, I got the email. I did receive it. I'm just about to vote.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
let me see if I got an email then.
I give up.
Okay, I have an email. Okay.
Do you want to
Yes. Okay, we have a total of 9 votes, and Eric Greenberg is the new chair.
Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you. There are 18 there twice, you know. Voting again.
Yes.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion to accept nominations for vice chair?
So moved.
Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
Go ahead.
Got this backwards. I move to have Virginia Thomas be vice chair, please.
Second.
Do we have any other nominations? In that case, motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is appointing of the Audit Committee. Jackie Tuma here? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Janet for her service as chair this past year. I also want to recognize Andy for his service to this board and to the Columbia community. He has been a major force for many, many years. We hope he continues, and we rely on him, his prodigious memory and history and his contribution here. So I really want to say thank you to all of the board members who are very dedicated and committed to the Columbia community, and especially say thank you for the new folks who are coming on the board. Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you. And thank you, and thank you for that introduction. And as you can tell, I've only been on the board 6 months, and so one of the things I will definitely help from is learning policies and procedures. And I think it would be definitely helpful to have someone on this board whose role is to help the board enforce our policies and procedures. Can I get a motion to establish the role of parliamentarian?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I guess I'd like to hear more about what yours or anybody else's thoughts are about qualifications. I don't know, I certainly don't feel like I've got the little Robert's Rules of Order book that they gave us when I first became a board member some years ago, but that doesn't mean I'm an expert in the field.
Well, it's more than just Robert's Rules of Order. It's also interpreting our own policies, our own bylaws, our own charter, and helping us get through those situations where there might be confusion as far as what our policies are. So if there comes an issue like we had earlier, that could be referred to the parliamentarian for an option, for an opinion. Janet?
How could a board member determine that if we won't even accept the guidance of our general counsel?
Ellen?
I have the same thought, a different ending. It's like, if it's one of us who does that, I guess I'd be concerned that that person would have a position, and that position might advertently or inadvertently get in the way of being an even-handed parliamentarian.
Sherry?
Yeah, I see the role of parliamentarian not as a formal position for the board, but as a helping position for the board, just like we have a timekeeper. One of the issues has been to keep the board focused on the topics on the agenda. And we have gotten to the point sometimes where we've had a discussion, then we come back and we're not sure what we've actually discussed, or whether or not there was whether or not there was consensus, where we were in terms of the discussion. And the CA used to have a parliamentarian so that the board would not get bogged down. If an issue came up and the board already had a policy, it was possible to say, for example, yes, we have a policy on XYZ by using the policy book. So I see that as being more of a function where as a self-regulating group, the board manages itself without getting into the minutes, which are votes, but keeping track of where we are in terms of discussion of topics. I think that would cut out a lot of repetition, a lot of, people remember things differently. And when we end a topic on the agenda, just to be able to do a summary in terms of this is what I heard, and make a correction if a correction needs to be made immediately, and then send a summary, in effect, to the chair, and then the board knows where we're starting next. That's what I'm thinking of.
Kevin?
My understanding of parliamentarian from my last other positions related to boards was that's a staff position. But perhaps we can do, a short subcommittee to discuss this separately from our board meeting to see if there's any rules that we want to change.
Andy?
Agree with Janet and Alan that I just think trying to do everything that Shari and the parliamentarian has been described as is going to be very difficult for a board member, because you'll find even when you're chair, trying to just even keep track of what's going on and who's speaking makes it very, very difficult. And I have the same thing that experience that Kevin is generally the parliamentarian is someone else who can kind of sit and watch what we're doing. And so I do like the idea that maybe we just need to better specify the position and what we want to do and how we think it should be staffed. But I have concerns about it being a board member.
Alan?
Dick has his hand up.
Oh, Dick?
I like the idea of having a parliamentarian, and I would also suggest that Sherry, having been a board chair at one point and having that kind of experience, would be very helpful to us, and particularly very helpful to Eric, since she has had that role before. And I think the parliamentarian definitely has to be a member of the board. We need somebody we know and can rely on.
Jenny?
Yeah, to add to what Kevin was saying, I guess I would also see this role as somebody that would head a subcommittee to look at all of our procedures or board procedures, make sure they're very clear and that they're accessible not just to the board but to the public, and make any recommendations for changing how we're functioning. So I would see that as one of the roles of somebody that if serves in this position.
Alan?
I guess I would like to suggest that we, I don't know if the proper word is table, but just, I think sort of adding this to our agenda tonight and then deciding on it feels to me like that we'd be rushing into it.
I move we table.
Okay, there's a motion to table.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of tabling?
Aye.
One, two. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kevin, are you 5, 6? All opposed to tabling? Motion is tabled.
Did Brian vote?
Brian did vote.
Yes. Okay.
Aaron, excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you tell me who actually seconded the motion to have the role of parliamentarian? I know Jenny made the motion. I didn't catch the second.
I have a note of Kevin Fitzgerald in my notes.
I think it's Kevin, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the establishment of the Audit Committee. Is Jackie online? So I'd like to have
I am.
Oh, so could you provide a few words on describing what the Audit Committee is and what it does, please?
I certainly can. I'll read from the Audit Committee Charter, which is also on CA's website, that the purpose of the Audit Committee is to assist the Board of Directors in fulfilling its oversight responsibilities for the financial reporting process, the systems of internal control, the audit process, and the ethics program. The committee consists of 5 people, 2 community members that fit the designation of financial experts. They are both in place. And then 3 members of the board. It's strongly preferred that any board member with financial expertise serve on the audit committee. And I'll read one other thing from the charter, that at least one of the board committee members should remain consistent from year to year. So consistency is important on this committee.
So as far as consistency, currently I've served on this past previous year. In addition, Dick and Andy also served on this past previous year. Given that, do we have any volunteers to be on the Audit Committee?
I do.
Got Kevin, got Andy.
And I think Bill Santos.
Bill Santos?
If you
Yeah, he said he wanted to be on it. And I don't know, Dick, did you?
Dick, I think.
I enjoyed being on it, but I think, first of all, Andy, because of the current situation, needs to stay on. And I'd be glad to serve if you need another member, but I'll leave that up to the board.
So are you volunteering?
Yeah, I'll volunteer. Okay.
I mean, so right now there's 4 people that volunteered for the audit committee.
Well, then I'm going to unvolunteer.
Okay, so there's 3 people that are currently volunteered for the audit committee. That'd be Kevin, Andy, and Bill Santos. Assuming there are no objections, congratulations, you're now members of the audit committee. Next committee is the risk management committee. Susan, could you give a description of the risk management committee?
Sure. So the risk management committee is responsible for administering CA's general liability self-insurance program. That includes a $6.6 million trust fund, and it is the first $1 million of exposure for general liability incidents, which are incidents related to personal injury and property damage that occur to people who are not employees. So it's the committee is made up of myself, an ex officio chair, the president, CEO, an external industry expert, a resident, and the general counsel serves as the secretary. Then there are 3 board members that the board selects. The committee handles extremely sensitive personal information and also is conducting itself in accordance with agreements with third parties.
Thank you. So do we have any volunteers to join the risk committee? Janet? Ellen and...
I thought Brian was interested, no? No?
Are you interested in the audit committee or the risk committee?
Risk committee.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be a good fit for that committee, not from the description you've described. So I'm not putting my name forward.
Okay.
How about Dick? How about Dick as a third member?
Dick, would you be interested in joining the risk committee?
Do you need me? I'll jump in.
Susan?
I would like to make another just statement about this. So I would ask that the CA board not select Alan Klein to be a member of the risk management committee. I make the request in accordance with my duties as a longtime officer for CA and the senior vice president and as the chair. I did note that there is access to extremely sensitive information for individuals, including community members and CA employees. Individuals provide PII, personally identifiable information, and participate in investigations, et cetera. And the normative expectation is that their information would be used and maintained in accordance with CA's ethics policies. Also, the administration of the trust is with a third-party trustee, and again, their expectation would be that all parties conduct themselves in accordance with the policies. And so, in my alignment with my duties as a longtime CA officer and senior leader, and as chair of the risk management committee, I have to recommend that Mr. Klein not serve as a member of that committee, that he disqualified himself from being entrusted with such a position by the non-transparent and unauthorized and hidden refusal to agree to conduct himself in accordance with those policies for at least 4 years and other previous ethics violations.
You have a comment, Alan?
You want to comment?
I'll wait.
I never refused to conduct myself in accordance with those policies, and I never didn't conduct myself in accordance with those policies. I refused to sign a statement saying that I would. Those are 2 different things. I'm a little surprised at this. The case came before this board. There was a, if you will, a small T trial. there was a consequence that was meted out by this board. To add further to that consequence, it seems to me to be out of bounds.
Dick, do you have a comment?
Yes, I can vouch for Alan. He is probably one of the most honorable people I know, one of the most ethical and moral people I know on the board. He, his supposed violation was just taken totally out of proportion, and I just can't accept that comment about him. He is he's totally trustworthy, and I'm just appalled at the way he's been treated, not only while he was on the board, but after he was on the board and while he was running for election to the board. I see absolutely no bar for him to be not accepted on the risk committee.
Brian.
Yes, I want to support just what Dick said. I've known Alan for many, many years. The idea that he's unethical is absolutely ridiculous. And I think he'd be a good person to be on that committee. So I think we should move on from that. As Alan said, he had his so-called punishment and a lot more afterwards. So I strongly support that Alan should be on this committee.
And I'd also like to welcome Bill Santos into the meeting.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
And you've been appointed to the audit committee.
Oh, great. Great news. Thank you.
Jenny, do you have any last thoughts?
This is turning into a pretty difficult meeting. We're assuming somebody's going to do something and they haven't done anything at the risk committee. And we're sort of saying they're guilty before they even get on it is a very difficult situation. And I'm just worried about whether we're condemning somebody. I just find it, I just can't go along with that.
Alan?
And if I could just add that Ms. Krabby knows that I served 2 years of honorable service on the Risk Management Committee under her chairship.
So, Susan?
So I can only go with what I have observed and experienced, and I see the matter with the policies as serious, and just cast in question whether or not I now feel I have no idea whether that behavior was in accordance with those policies or not, and I have no confidence whether it would continue to be. And I feel that it's my responsibility to speak up on behalf of the individuals who would be trusting us with these circumstances and with these other organizations that expect a certain code of behavior. And I just don't know. I feel that that's cast into question whether that would occur or not. And I would like to make it clear that this is brings me zero joy and is quite difficult, and that this was my independent initiative that I've been, this is 24 years with Columbia Association, most of those as an officer, and I felt that this was important to make clear.
Thank you. So I would like to note that we've got 3 positions and 3 volunteers. So assuming there's no objection.
You're just ignoring it.
Are there any other volunteers? Are there any other?
It's not really the point, is it? So as chair of the board, you need to represent the organization and you need to look out for the organization. If a senior vice president is telling you that there is a concern based on past behavior for someone being on the risk management committee, it seems to me you should at least consider that.
Duly noted. So I will say this again. We have 3 volunteers and 3 positions. We have an objection, so is there a motion to appoint Janet, Ellen, and Dick to the risk committee?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Actually,
I second that.
the chair's decision. I mean, because I'm looking at our policy, it says the chair appoints board members to the audit committee and the risk management committee. Board members may request assignment to either of these committees, but the chair makes the final decision. So it's your decision, Eric.
Alan?
And that's certainly our policy, and that will be the ultimate decision.
Right.
One way to look at what Eric's asking for is, as Janet has pointed out, he's got a senior vice president who's made a recommendation. He's got a couple of board members at least who've given a different opinion. So maybe just sort of wants a sense of the board to know, to help guide him.
All in favor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll do a roll call. All in favor, Dick?
Dick, we couldn't hear you. You're on mute now.
You're muted, Dick.
Dick, you're on mute.
Dick, you're on mute.
Okay. This is a new system here. I finally learned the old system, and now we got a new one. Anyway, yes, I am in favor of Alan being on the risk committee.
Well, I think it's all three.
Alan, Janet, and Dick.
Alan.
Yes, all three, yes.
Brian?
All three.
Janet?
I'm not in favor of Alan being on.
Kevin?
All in favor of the three.
Alan?
Yes.
Bill?
I just got here. I'm going to abstain for this one. I don't have a problem with Alan per se, but I just got into this conversation. I haven't heard any of this, so I'm going to abstain from this one.
Andy?
No.
Ginny?
Yes.
Sherry?
Going to abstain.
Yes, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I voted yes. I got 6, 4, 1, 2 no's, and 2 abstentions. Motion passes. So Janet, Alan, and Dick are on the risk committee. Last topic is IAT. Lakey, could you give an introduction to the IAT?
IAT is the Inner Arbor Trust. It is a 501c3 in Columbia that does the programming in Symphony Woods, and also is in a transition between CA and Inner Arbor Trust based on an easement agreement with taking over maintenance and doing some capital investment work. That would be my summary.
Eric, before we move to IAT, which is the next item on the agenda, can we finish the committees? Because what we still have is the liaisons.
Yeah, I was going to do the liaisons after IAT.
Are we going to do those after?
Yeah, this is the order that showed up in my packet.
Okay.
Sorry about that, though.
No, that makes sense. They're the bigger committees.
Yeah, this is what showed up in the order I got.
Excuse me, isn't it what's on the agenda?
So I was just following the.
Yeah, we're going off.
I've been just following the packet. But if I'm out of order, I will defer.
Well, at the bottom of the same page that has the
Appointments to committees.
appointments are the advisory committees.
Number 4.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because what we usually try to do is get the BOC's schedule so we know who can be, because some of us might have conflicts, and also try to get the liaisons to the various committees so we get that out of them.
The other argument on the other side of that, though, is that all of us get involved in the BOC. Pretty much all of us get involved in advisory committees, whereas we've got some people who are involved already in the two we just decided.
Arguing to order the agenda?
No.
No.
I'm just, other people are. Why are you not getting upset at that? Arguing?
We could allocate board members to the BOC. In the last year, we just allocated them to meetings, and then if they couldn't make that one, they could let you know, and then you could swap them out for somebody else. So that piece of it, you could just move on for next, you could just assign people, not right now, send it later, but then do the other committees.
Yeah, that's what I was actually planning on doing, is just doing that later. I was actually planning on doing IAT before the advisory committees, but if
Could I suggest that it might be a good idea to go with the IAT, because that's time consuming, and if two people get on that, they may not want to then be involved in an advisory committee, since we're down to, I think, only 7 of them anyway. So if they're on the audit or the risk committee or the IAT, they may say, whoa, that's a lot. Plus the BOC, plus their whatever other subcommittees it might be on. So it does seem logical to go to IAT next and give those people a chance, and they may not.
Agendas are irrelevant going forward, is that what we're
saying? Well, I'm sorry, I'm just explaining how I see it, and then they can decide whether they want to volunteer for a committee, or they're saying, whoa, my plate is full already. Just my 2 cents.
Are there any objections with deviating from the agenda to do IAT now?
No.
No.
Okay, thanks. And I appreciate that, because like you already gave a pretty good introduction to IAT. So given that, do we have any volunteers to join the IAT? Kevin and Dick. Okay. There are 2 members and 2 volunteers. And seeing no other volunteers, congratulations, Kevin and Dick. You are representatives to the IAT. Now.
And that's a workload.
Yes. So now, Board Operations Committee. There are right now 4 Board Operations Committee dates. They are Monday, May 23rd, Monday, August 29th, Monday, November 28th, and Monday, February 27th of 2023. What I propose doing is I'll send out a draft schedule, and the intention here is that every member gets to be on one of these committees, and if there are any conflicts, we'll resolve them. But I don't think we want to play around with who's got a conflict in November right the second. So I will send out that email either tonight or tomorrow, and please respond to it. Next thing on the agenda is board member liaisons. In the past, we had, I think we had 11 liaisons, but based on the last meeting, we now are down to 7 liaisons. And these include the Climate Change Committee, the Columbia Arts Center Committee, the Multicultural Committee, the Watershed Committee, the Millennial Advisory Committee, the Senior Advisory Committee, and the Teen and Middle School Advisory Committee. You have a question, Alan?
Yeah, I don't want to relitigate it, but I wasn't here, and I understand that we went from 11 to 7. I'd love to hear, it seems aquatics and sports and fitness are such a huge part of what we do. It's not clear why we no longer have.
Understood, but that's been resolved at previous meetings.
If I could just have somebody say 25 words or less on why that happened.
25 words. So they do still exist, but they're going to be staff-driven, and board members who would like to participate are more than welcome to, but we weren't assigning. So the meetings will be published, their minutes will be published, but they will be primarily staff-driven because they are aquatic, because they're so integrated with what Columbia Association
with the
does.
operations. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Golf and tennis were the other 2.
Okay, so given that,
you want volunteers?
I want volunteers for the volunteers for committees. Ginny?
Climate.
Okay. Sherry?
I'd like to volunteer for Watershed.
Alan?
Multicultural.
Art Center.
Okay, we've got 3 more. looking for millennial, senior, and teen.
I'd be willing to
Bill
do
has
the
his
senior
hand.
again, since I'm not on
sorry.
any of the other committees.
Bill?
I'd like to volunteer for the Millennial Committee.
Okay, cool, thanks.
You want to be a millennial again? Is that what you're saying?
That's, I never was, but I certainly would like to chat with them. I think they would be fun.
He's hoping.
So now we got, do you have any volunteers for senior and teen?
Yeah, I'd be willing to do the senior as well, since I'm not doing the audit or the in-risk or the, whatever, IAT.
Any volunteers for the teen committee? Going once? Brian, you volunteering for that? Brian, I think you're on mute.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not on mute, no. When you were voting, my screen froze up, so I'm not voting or asking about committees to be on. I didn't get to say what I wanted to be on, but I think I heard there was a climate change and watershed already taken care of. Can you submit to be on those committees even though someone's picked to be on it, or someone did, or do you have a sort of a decide who should be on it?
So
the board decide?
So the key thing about these committees is anyone is invited to attend these committees. And certainly if you're interested in those committees, I definitely recommend attending those committees.
Okay, but there's no formal obligation, that's what you're saying?
No, yeah, if you're not a liaison, there's no formal, you have to attend the meetings, but you're certainly welcome.
If you are a liaison to that committee, you have to attend?
You should definitely attend.
Yeah, you should, really. It doesn't always happen.
Yes, okay.
And yeah, there's exceptions.
Did I hear, I think Sherry, did she volunteer for that? Is that what happened?
Yes, so.
Yeah, I'd be delighted for you to attend also.
Same with me on the climate committee. It'd be great if you want to come to some of them.
Got it.
But the real question, Brian, is did you also volunteer for the Teen and Middle School Advisory Committee?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Any volunteers for the Teen and Middle School Committee? Yes, I will take that one.
There's a resolution for Ann Arbor Trust.
Good. My internet. Do you have a copy of the resolution?
For the IAT, you mean?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Thank you. So next on the agenda is the Inner Arbor Trust. Selection of representatives to the Columbia Association to the Inner Arbor Trust.
Did we do that already?
Yeah, we did that.
Yes, I'll just read the resolution.
The portion where it says be it
Yes,
resolved.
be it resolved that we have Kevin Fitzgerald.
Dick Bolton.
And Dick Bolton are selected as representatives to the Columbia Association Incorporated to the Inner Arbor Trust Incorporated Board of Directors for the period from May 12th, 2022 until their successors is/are selected by the Columbia Association Board of Directors.
Second.
Do I have,
Or so moved. Okay,
do I have a second?
moved.
Second.
We got a motion by Ginny, a second by Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any objections?
Nope.
Nope. Motion passes.
Is this the next one? It's clicking.
Next, we have a resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors hereby reappoints the following slate of officers of the corporation effective May 12th, 2022. Lakey Boyd, President/CEO, Susan Krabbe, Vice President and Secretary, Mary Lynn Schwartz, Treasurer, Don Van Duzen, Assistant Secretary.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion by Ginny. Second by Kevin. Any objections? No objections, motion passes. Next thing on the agenda is the schedule. So the following are the list of dates for the Board of Directors work sessions and meetings for FY23. We have today's organizational meeting on the 12th. We have a board meeting on the 26th of May, work session on the 9th of June, board meeting on the 23rd of June, work session on the 14th of July, board meeting on the 28th of July, work session on the 8th of September, board meeting on the 22nd of September, work session on the 13th of October, board meeting on the 27th of October, board meeting on the 10th of November, another board meeting the 8th of December, work session on the 12th of January, board meeting on the 26th of January, work session on the 9th of February, board meeting on the 23rd of February, work session on the 9th of March, board meeting on the 23rd of March, work session on the 13th of April, and the last meeting is scheduled for April 27th, 2023.
Question. I noticed that the BOC is going to meet Monday, May 23rd to set the agendas. So there's Thursday, May 26th. It says that the annual reports from the advisory committees are already on the calendar. One, do they know that they're going to be reporting to the board?
First, can I get a motion?
Oh, I'm so moved.
Ginny moves to approve the calendar. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Andy
seconds it. Now discussion.
Okay. So what I'm trying to find out is this looks like it says Thursday, May 26th, board meeting annual reports from the advisory committees. Is that locked in stone? One, do they know that they're reporting?
Yes, they know they're reporting. That's why we put it on the calendar. We started coordinating the date in April, and all staff liaisons to the FY22 advisory committee, so not in the new structure, and the structure that existed in FY22, have confirmed receipt of the expectation of the annual report being turned in to be posted in time, and are prepared to make their presentations.
Okay. So that's really a whole meeting almost.
When it gets to BOC, we would recommend it's the totality of the meeting, yes, in terms of time.
Okay, so the BOC will have a role in whether that makes, whether the entire 7 committees should be reporting or not. Okay, thank you.
Well, they've all been invited and expected to be given their service for the past fiscal year, so
yeah,
while it is certainly the board's decision, it certainly would be disappointing if everyone was not invited to present.
No, I know, and it is only 7 committees, not the 11 or 12, whatever.
The 11 that existed in FY22.
Oh, it's going to be
all previous committees. Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just wanted clarification.
Any other discussion on the agenda for the year?
Well, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what I just heard. I got that the 7 committees are going to have board members, liaisons. Does that also mean that those other 4 committees in the future are not going to be giving reports to the board?
I believe they'd still be giving reports to the board, even though they don't have a board liaison.
I don't think so.
Is that the intention, Likey?
I don't think so. They're staff.
That is not how I read the board approved changes.
Yeah.
It would be that, as Jana Evans just characterized, that the minutes are posted and there are summaries provided, but there would not be board presentations unless the board chose to invite the group to present, obviously, at a board meeting at any point during the year.
Thanks for the clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any objections?
Nope.
Motion passes. So I believe that brings us to the end of the agenda for the board meeting. I'd like to thank you all for attending the first meeting of the Columbia Association Board of Directors for fiscal year 23. I'd like to please welcome our newest members of the board and also welcome back to all our returning members. Serving on this board can be challenging. There are times of disagreement and even argument, but that is because we're passionate about this organization and passionate about Columbia. More importantly, serving on this board is a rewarding experience. Despite any disagreements that we have, we respect each other's opinions because at the end of the day, we're all here with the same purpose: the betterment of our neighborhoods, our villages, and all of Columbia. The board and the staff work with each other to provide recreational and community programming, to maintain a strong financial outlook, and to manage and preserve our open space that is open for everyone to freely enjoy. Furthermore, together we have a civic responsibility to work with our county leadership to ensure that Howard County continues to thrive both now and in the future. There's a lot of work to do, and it will not all be completed this year. After all, we need to leave something for the next board to work on. The important thing is that our work benefits our community. Columbia is consistently ranked as one of the top places in the country to live. This is a testament to the dedication of everyone here tonight, and also the dedication of everyone who works and lives in Columbia. We are truly a special community because we are a garden for the growing of people. With that, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
The meeting is adjourned.
To order at 8:35. Do I seriously take roll call?
Yes.
Yeah, I will take roll. Dick?
I'm sure it doesn't.
He raised his hand.
Is this where
Brian?
we do this vote here?
Yeah.
Me?
Is that what she's
Kevin?
Here.
Eric?
Here.
Alan?
Here.
Bill?
Thank you.
Here.
Andy?
Here.
Ginny?
Here.
Sherry?
Here.
Another notebook.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Ginny moves, Eric seconds. Any discussion? Any objection?
Nope.
Unanimous. I have approval of the minutes for May 21.
So moved.
Second.
Eric moves, Ginny seconds. Any discussion? Any objection? Unanimous. Okay, now we have the appointment of the chair and vice chair.
I move we adopt the resolution. This makes the chair and the vice chair of this board of directors the chair and the vice chair for the Columbia Council.
Second.
Andy moves, Alan seconds.
Okay.
Any discussion?
That's it.
Any objections? Unanimous? Congratulations. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Eric moves and Ginny seconds. Any objection? Unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.